Hi guys, and welcome to the Icehouse podcast. Today we're with Mark Witkowski from Gemco Group, and he has done our effective leadership program, which is actually based in the Hawke's Bay. So we're really excited to sort of hear about his experience and his journey as a leader inside of Gemco Group. So welcome, Mark. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
awesome.
You're welcome.
We're going to jump into totally. We're going to jump into the first question, and that is explain the business that you work in and your role there.
Yeah, so I work for a company called Gemco Construction Limited, which is based out of Havelock North in the Hawke's Bay. We are one of the larger commercial and residential building companies in the Hawke's Bay, as well as having, we've actually got large builds on in Cambridge, Wellington and Dunedin as well. But the whole lot is all run out of the office here in where are we, Havelock. I am a site manager, senior site manager for the company, and my role is basically coordinating all parts of the build from the time it comes into the office to the time that it's handed back to the client. So that's in relation to all staff control, material delivering, consultancy, client liaison, all interaction between the council and the clients and myself, pretty much all subcontractor control, quality control, safety. It's a fairly large role, especially.
Good job.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's built anything knows there's a bit that goes into it. So when you're running point man for that, it's constantly met with challenges and issues that arise, and I enjoy that about my job, that it's an ever-changing face with a lot of different people involved.
Yeah, that's great, and that your hands are just in a lot of pies and helping move lots of things forward. I'm sure of it, and a big company too. So lots of pies and lots of challenges. I'm sure. So I'm sure you're great at providing some solutions to your teams, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's quite a key part of what I do is no matter how well you plan or try and execute something, there's usually an issue that arises, and it's being able to think on your feet and come up with a fast and cost-effective solution, so that we can continue to move on towards completing the project. So yeah,
totally, a great job. And a great company. That's awesome. So why did you join our effective leadership program in Hawke's Bay?
So I was approached by my boss here at Gemco about doing the course. I actually, prior to that, hadn't been or heard of Icehouse. And once I'd looked into and read the flyer, I was keen to be involved. Basically, I'm all about trying to find about personal growth, and the more information that I can have on board to help me in a professional manner or in my home manner as well, is great, and then, when the course was outlined to me, I'm up for, as I stated, anything that, I can grow from as a leader and as a manager, then I'm all aboard for gaining that knowledge.
Great. It's a win-win, I guess, for the company and for yourself and your career and your personal life, because the programs cover, you in the business, but also you in your world and your life and family and all that sort of stuff. So that's very cool. I'd love to hear, a sum up of your experience at the program. Can you sum it up in a couple of sentences? or lots of sentences?
Yeah. So I actually personally gained a lot, and I thought the course was great. Initially, when the first few weeks of the course was focused on business strategy and building the company, which personally isn't actually sort of my role here. I'm more building stuff once it comes in, but it was still super interesting for me to learn about that side of things, and it opened my, not saying that in the future I won't be in that situation. So it sort of opened the door to that sort of thinking for me. And then as we started stepping into sort of the, site planning and that sort of stuff, and making sure that I've got goals written down that I can focus on and see in front of me, rather than just having all this cluster going on in my head, That's something I've really taken from the course. My team profile or team management profile on myself was quite an interesting read.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it pretty much proved to me exactly what I thought I was anyway. But it was nice to read it and learn that, I always thought that I was well suited to my role, and it seemed to fit the mold really well. And then moving on to like staff and that sort of thing, it's given me. I think I now set more goals with my staff to make sure that they're challenged in achieving things as well, rather than with the construction industry, things become fairly monotonous if you just keep the guys on a gravy train. So it's making sure that my men are enjoying their work, so they're happy and being proactive and enjoying it, so that they can grow as well. Because if you become stagnant, that's when you lose interest and you don't really want to keep building for me. So
yeah, totally awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
like
It's really
just some extra skills from the course, from the Icehouse, from the leadership program that helped me to develop that on site. So
yeah, that's great that it's actually moved into your staff too, your team that you look after. The learnings that you have learned on that program is now affecting them and their growth and their experience at the company. So it's very, very cool. The next question we have here is, what learnings did you take from others in your LDP group?
Yep, I think I just jotted down that I think it was interesting to get in a group of other young professionals, even though they're not in my industry. It was interesting to bounce ideas off others when, like there's always things, especially when you're dealing with multiple people on site, where personalities clash, and it may not be with you, but it could be your staff clashing together, or with me, it's multiple subcontractors, and having others' opinions in order to help me decipher and move forward with those rather than, struggling with it was ultra helpful. Yeah. And seeing that, when you're trying to resolve an issue on site, it is also common to other people. It's not just specifically in the construction industry that we have those problems. Like it's, some of the people involved were, accountants and that sort of stuff, and they basically had the same sort of staff issues going on that I did, even though I'm dealing with a bunch of blokes out in a big hole on site. It's
Totally.
yeah.
It's funny you say that, because on podcasts and recordings we do with other people, and maybe they've done an owner manager program or a leadership development program, so a different program to what you've done. They say the same things, and it blows their mind that they walk into a room and they're with people from so many different industries, but they all have the same pain points and challenges and things in the business, and it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. But you guys are all walking through the same thing, being leaders in large companies and companies itself. So that's really great to hear that you could bounce off people, even if they were accountants, which is so different to construction and all that sort of stuff.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Cool. Following on from that, what changes did you make within the business since completing the program?
Yeah, like I've always had a pretty positive mindset. The course touched on the importance of empathy and understanding your staff, which to me is always, like if I'm not an approachable manager, I'm sort of not doing my job correctly. That's how I see it, whether that's with issues on site or whether that's on a personal level as well. If you've got trust with your guys, and straight away they're going to want to work with you and for you in a better way. Like whilst I appreciate I'm the boss and I need to be at times, I also want to be an approachable one in that regard as well. So it's a sort of a delicate. I continually work on that anyway, because my staff is rotated. I don't have a constant crew, so
right. Yeah.
It's you're constantly learning about people and making sure that you can connect with them in the right way to get the most out of them, so that they can help themselves and help me achieve what I need to.
Awesome.
Other things were, we didn't have a safety app at the time, so safety took up a huge amount of time through our of paperwork and making sure things are set up. And then since then, our safety managers actually got onto organising that. That was one of the goals that I had to discuss with her, getting it launched, and it literally launched while we were on, while I was on the ELP. So more, yeah, it was more Amy's doing, but it was still good to get, you know, a push and see if I could help in any way, shape or form, and that's been really good for the company now.
Great to see a sort of gap and go, cool, we need to fill this, you know, really quickly and utilize the team to make sure we come up with a solution here to make it easier and save lots of time, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, time is very precious in the construction industry. You can't really get it back once it's gone. So you know, and then the other thing that the changes that I've made on site is making sure that we've got our goals written down on a whiteboard. Like we always had a progress board anyway, but it's actually doing it specifically with my own staff too. And so that my guys, even though I'm running it, have the understanding of where we're heading and what we're doing, you know, which can be as easy as a picture of the final project up, saying this is actually what you're building. You're not just slogging away for months, you know. There's actually there's actually something really quite rad at the end of it that you can be proud of. So yeah.
Awesome, that's great. And yeah, I guess sort of on those days where you're like, what is this all about again? Just being reminded of the bigger picture and the outcome, and that you're all working towards that same thing. It's a great idea. Cool.
And trying to get everybody to buy into it too can be fun at times. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, totally. Any learnings from a personal and lifestyle perspective that you've implemented into your life?
Yeah, well, when my wife was 8.5 months pregnant when I started the ELP with our second child.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we ended up having under two at home, plus my career, plus a renovation going at home as well, which is still ongoing now. So life's been pretty busy and challenging in that regard. You know, from a personal note, I know I function better when I'm fitter and I'm healthier, and I've really focused on that since the course, because when I joined, that was one of my goals to sort that out.
Great.
But yeah, I think, you know, from a lifestyle perspective, it's just the thing at home. I actually set goals now too. My wife and I have a whiteboard there as well. So, you know, we can, you know, it can be as simple as booking a babysitter to go out once every 6 months.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome.
You know, like actually having something physically down, like, man, we got 2 weeks to go. We got to sort something else because we haven't been out for ages, or you know, there's multiple things going on at home and with the house build, and then spending time with the kids, and time is pretty precious, that's for sure. So yeah.
Totally. What a great idea, you know. The whiteboard for the goals of the family, making sure you're on track. I think that's awesome. Quite inspiring. Yeah, good on you guys. And you guys are living a very full life with 2 kids under 2. You were saying 2 kids under 2?
Yeah, so Lucas is now 3 and Kush is 1. So we got through the first 12 months with the second one. But
you survived.
Life is busy, but you know, it's important to use, and the skills that I learned in ELP as well, about delegating to the right things too, and focusing on the, you know, on the long term, not just the issues that pop up each day, focusing on the bigger stuff rather than the smaller things. You know, like there's hiccups all the time, both with professional and you know, private life, but it's focusing on the overall thing about making sure that A, your life's enjoyable, and B, that things are going the way that you need them to. So
great, love that perspective. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any advice for a business leader on what they can do to support their management better?
Yeah, I actually wrote down a couple of things. You know, I think in today's society, it's changing a little bit with making sure that your staff feel valued. I think Gemco's really, I feel that Gemco's really good at that. I'm content and happy working where I work. It's you know, the times of just flicking people money in order to go as an incentive isn't totally on board. You know, you want to be proactive. To me, time is actually more valuable than straight out money, you know. And different people are motivated by different things. So yeah, I think that making sure that your staff feels valued and that, you know, that they really are appreciated for what they do, whether, you know, I have guys that are on site as labourers that literally just move things around and sweep stuff for me. But if they're not doing that well, then it affects everybody else too. So they're just as important, and I make sure that they feel that that is the case as well. You know, no matter what part of the team you are, it's all a valuable asset to have on site when it's done well. Yeah, and I think just approaching your staff in a calm manner when things do go wrong. That there's. I personally think that blowing your top doesn't resolve anything, and just because it, you know, creates resentment along the lines of you know, if you're at the start of a long project and something goes wrong and you lose it, then those people aren't going to want to work with you in the future or try and help you out again. So it's all about approach, and whilst inside you might be fuming, you just need to keep that calm head and see where you're going from there. So
awesome advice. That's great, really valuable. Thanks, Mark.
So I'm no rocket scientist, but I try and value people's opinions. That's for sure. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's such a great key. Great. Last question we have for you, Mark, is did you take anything out of 2020 that you're going to bring into 2021?
Yeah, I think professionally, I've moved into a much larger project this year with the company. So this is the biggest build I would have done with them in the 3 years I've been here. So learning what I have so far and what I learned with the Icehouse ELP course, and taking that on with another level as well. I think it's important to reflect on the stuff that I did learn to make sure that I still implement it, because when it's fresh, it's right there, you know, but you got to sort of make sure you go back to it and you're actually doing the things that you learn, because it's easy to slip back into old ways.
So true.
Yeah, so focusing on that. It's been obviously with COVID, and you know, directly in the construction industry, supply and that sort of thing is starting to become more of an issue. So making sure that you're planning and organised, and that your goals are set really early and booked in, so that things go well, because it's real hard to scramble now to get stuff sorted out, which is across the board in many industries, I would imagine. And also
very hard to do things last minute, you know, to decide different things last minute. It's not always ready available like it used to be. That's
for sure, especially when you're dealing with large scale material or what, and things like that. And I think also, like, using technology more, we were sort of forced into it, which in our industry wasn't really overly prominent. But now we have a lot more consultancy meetings, and you know, when our architects and engineers are based out of the Hawke's Bay, we can now have more things like what we're doing now.
Yeah, great.
You know, where you can get the information you require on a lot easier way, not just via emails or a phone call. You can actually have a good sit down and nut out what you need to, and then move on with your goals for that time. So
yeah, awesome. Some great things that did come out of 2020, the year that was. There was a lot of hard times, but lots of great things too. And I think it did definitely move some businesses forward in different ways to help them with their efficiency. Even like you said, now we're just jumping on here to have a conversation. It wasn't so doable in the past. So that is cool to hear.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I mean, but in our industry too, we seem to be very busy at the moment. Like Gemco's humming along, so yeah, we look forward to, you know, continuing to build things as they come through the door. So
exciting days ahead, it sounds like. And and it sounds like you got a lot out of the program and implementing it in and making sure that, you know, it goes out to your staff as well. And it's awesome to hear that you got some value out of it. And so thank you, Mark. Thanks heaps for your time and for chatting with us about your experience and how life is down there in beautiful, where are you based again? Hawke's Bay?
We're in the Hawke's Bay, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful spot in the country and in the world. So I see some sunshine in the background. Keep lapping up that sun.
It's always sunny here, mate. Always sunny.
It's the dream, that's for sure. Thanks again, Mark. Appreciate it.
Right on. No problems. Thank you.